Hi everyone, I've managed to play a lot of games from 2022 and here's a list of the best games that I played that were released last year. Coming in at number 10 is Acropolis, which is a tile placement game where players are individually creating a pyramid of tiles based on ancient Greece. So you have neighborhood tiles that like to be placed adjacent to each other. You have merchants that like to be away from each other. You have barracks which are placed on the edge of the city to keep the city safe. And the way it scores is you have plazas with stars, and those stars are multipliers for the different districts. So as the districts progress, you have the option to build up, and those upward points are worth double. If you can go up to the next level, they're worth triple. So it's whether you are able to grow upwards and what you're going to sacrifice versus spreading out. The tiles are obviously the same every game, but the replayability is so high. It's one of my most played games of last year. It's a great family game for people of all ages and all abilities. Definitely check out Acropolis. Coming in at number 9 is a game called Come Together, where players are organising their own music festival. You can have rising stars, you can have superstars. The cards are very cleverly written and different puns on other board games, and players have to advertise to get attendees to visit the festival. It's really well designed. It's a little bit cutthroat because you can activate rows after you've put workers out, which then means other people then can't get the benefits. But it's all good fun, really great design, highly recommended for those who like medium weight Euro games. And that is Come Together, my number 9. At number 8, we have Ostia. Ostia has a fantastic action selection mechanism whereby you're moving boats around the harbour at the historical city. It also has a Mancala mechanism, so you're having to plan ahead and manage the action selection through dropping boats off at different points of the harbour. There's a lot of forward planning. It's a bit of a head scratcher. Definitely benefits from multiple plays. There's a Kickstarter, so maybe a little bit harder to find, but it's totally unique. I've not played anything like that before. I really enjoyed the way you spread out across the map, visiting different cities, and releasing those city bonuses gives you better benefits on your own player board then as well. It's just a really lovely, well thought out game. You've got some set collection, you've got some end game bonuses, and so highly recommended if you get to check out Ostia. At number 7, we have a really unusual game called Planet B. In Planet B, players are trying to become the president of the planet, and they're doing this throughout the game by placing votes into a bag. And it was really interesting to see how players reacted when their votes weren't pulled out the bag. It's got some classic actions, so you can put out buildings and then activate those buildings. You can also use resources. You have a production track that you can generate resources and then spend those on buildings, which is great. I thoroughly had a great time. I came last by a mile, but the mini events that take place in the game and the theme I thought really came through. There's so much table talk because if you can't be president, you have to be the vice president, or in third place you're the llama, and in fourth place you're the dodo. So it was just a really great first experience, really smooth action selection. I thought it was an absolutely standout game of last year. Need to play it a few more times, but what an experience. At number 6, we have Tiletum or Tiletum, however it's pronounced. This is a really great game from board and dice. It's highly strategic. You're planning on attending different fairs throughout Europe across 4 rounds, with the idea being you're building columns and cathedrals as well as houses through merchants and architects across the board, which gives you a good deal of endgame points. but it's also got a fascinating player board where you can take additional actions. You're trying to get characters and complete contracts. The one standout feature in this game is that you can only ever take 4 items onto your player board, so you're always umming and ahhing about whether you can get something completed quickly as an additional action and move on to the next thing that you want to do. It can be a little bit long as a game because you're always interrupting your action with another combo which combos into something else. But I do think that it's worth the investment. I've played several times now. Everyone seems to have a good time, but you do have to be aware there's probably a little bit of downtime as you're waiting for people to take their turns. You're spinning a lot of plates in this game. There's a lot of planning, and if you're into highly strategic, medium weight Euro games, definitely check out Tarleton. Coming in at number 5, we have a game called Rise by DLP Games. For me, the list this year is probably done more so from the feeling I've had from the games and how much enjoyment they've given to me. And Rise was an absolute pleasure. I smile all the way through with Rise because the decisions are so delicious about how to progress up your tracks. Whether you take this benefit now, which damages the ecology, so you have to move down the track on the red tree, which gives you some sort of punishment, or do you then balance out taking the school actions versus a newspaper action? And if you can take a newspaper action, what are the benefits? There's another game where a turn turns into another combination of doing other things. I haven't had a bad play yet. I've played all the B-side on the tiles. There's so much variety in this game. Apparently there's 1020 variations of how you can set the game up. But the action selection mechanism in this is first class. How far do you want to go in terms of the track versus the free benefits versus how much money you've got? And if you've not have been capped at 3 money, you can have up to 10 money, so you're planning ahead around the financial aspect. It's a really clever, wonderful game, and doesn't get that much buzz, but if it's ever on the table or at a games group, I'd highly recommend playing Rise. Coming in at number 4 is a game called Sabika, and goodness me, this can be a hard game. It's quite unforgiving, trying to get money, then trying to get resources. I do like the action selection mechanism, which is a rondel, and you have to move your merchants and your poet around, deciding which action suits you best at this time. But you're collecting goods, you're shipping goods, everything ties into everything else. So it's quite a long teach, this one, but I personally found it hugely enjoyable. I really enjoyed the beneficial actions on the board. So do you take a long-term action of red or an immediate action of blue, or vice versa? Or construction, do I go for constructing the major tiles, which helps move the track along, or do lots of mini tiles with more resources to balance out points? Just thought it was an absolutely wonderful design from the same designer as Bitoku, which I really enjoyed. Those players that play a 5 or a 6 in Bitoku, you know who you are. But yeah, if you enjoyed Bitoku, there's definitely some hallmarks that carry over. But Sabika was absolutely fantastic, and definitely one to try if you do ever get the chance. In the number 3 position for 2022, I played Lacrimosa and thought it was absolutely fantastic. In Lacrimosa, you've got a hand of 9 cards that you're always trying to upgrade and improve by buying new cards, which gives you more and improved actions. I can't quite remember all the cards' names, but it says here, document memories, commission an opus, perform or sell music. So you're tapping the cards to see whether you can take the benefit or if you want to sell the card and get more of an upfront income. I really enjoyed the way that the cards slot into the game board, so you're taking resources versus an improvement. Also the Requiem, where people are doing the area majority, even played it at 2, and that seems to work well. You're putting out your quavers to decide which benefits to get and how to improve your game board. Everyone I played it with thought it was absolutely superb. It's a great production from Devere, and I look forward to playing this one again soon. That's my number 3, Lacrimosa. The second best game I played in 2022 was a game called Carnegie, based on the life and work of Andrew Carnegie. In the game, you are going out and doing missions and constructing across the board, housing projects or commercial projects. I really enjoy the action selection mechanism in this game. I found it highly interactive in that when you choose an action, if I've picked a management action, which means I can do a mission and go and do some construction, other people also have to do the same action. But if they haven't used their HR department to move workers there, then they're going to suffer because I'm doing an action and they haven't got any benefit. So there's quite a lot of looking around, seeing what other people are doing, what plans they got, how many workers are available. I really enjoyed the R&D side, which releases study points so you can get more access to better projects. I also enjoyed moving the trains along to trigger benefits every time that you're in a certain location. I just thought it was so well designed, and it's been a long time since I played this one and need to get it back to the table soon. But yeah, second best game of 2022 for me was Carnegie. And the number one game for me of 2022 was a game called Terracotta Army. In Terracotta Army, you're taking actions through a clever wheel board. It gives you 3 actions, and then you're using those resources, of which there are only 2, money and clay, to build warriors in a mausoleum, and also putting out special soldiers who do different things. So every turn is effectively a puzzle in this game, which is what I liked. You have some long-term strategy, but also mid-term strategy as well. And the way it works in terms of the masters, I thought was so clever. You want to get as many masters as you can early on, but it sacrifices other things you're going to do elsewhere. But it gives you something to lean into for that particular game. Also, the end of round bonuses are really clever and worth getting. But for me, the inspectors is also another great element of trying to move your scoring rows back and forth. But it's a high scoring game. It's a challenging scoring system at the end of the game, but I think it's worthwhile. It's those for players who like the medium to heavyweight games. Definitely multiple plays will benefit you. But yeah, absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it, and can't wait to play it again. That's my number one game of 2022, Terracotta Army. And finally, some honourable mentions. For me, a game called Evergreen nearly made it into the top 10. It's a really clever and updated version of photosynthesis in terms of the sun moving around the board. But the way the scoring works and having to leave a card behind is ultra clever. Really enjoyed that one. Yeah, always incidentally benefiting other people as well as trying to progress your own tracks and grow the board to score the most points for the regions that you're in. Really wonderful game. Definitely check out Evergreen. I also really enjoyed a game called First Empires. Can't believe it only came out this year. I've played this quite a lot with 3 or 4 different gaming groups. It's a hit every time. It's a simple version of area majority. You're pushing people in and out of areas. It's the whole game. There's no in between, but it does it in a fun and friendly way through rolling dice and moving up and down tracks to score points. Just thought it was really clever. I've played it 3, 4, 5 people. It's been wonderful every time. Maybe that one should have got in the top 10. I also played Woodcraft once, thought that was excellent. Another Vladimir Suki game. He's one of my favourite designers. I thoroughly enjoyed Messina of his and other titles as well. But this particular game, the fantasy theme doesn't draw me in as much. The mechanisms are excellent. The halving of the dice, which are the wood, and the gluing them together, and just getting the people and the benefits. There's a lot to like about Woodcraft. Also played Autobahn. Autobahn was a bit of a slow burn for me. It's one where you are effectively route building across Germany, and the game opens up in the second half, so it's quite a tight experience where you're moving goods around Germany and scoring points. But you don't score any in-game points, but you have to promote your workers. So you've only got your eye on the end of the game and working backwards as to how you can get your workers promoted. I thought that was really good. And the last one for an honourable mention was a game called Federation. There's about 8 different zones where you're again moving up tracks, classic Euro fare. But the workers that you're putting out turn into votes and they give you benefits. You're moving different workers into areas, trying to get the most votes. I just thought it was really clever. I did like Federation, but yeah, if you don't mind, best played at 3 or 4, voting and not always winning the outcome, then check out Federation. I thought that was really good as well. And that's it. Those are my top 10 games for 2022. Hopefully I'll be back next year with my top 10 of 2023. Let me know if you played any of those games. It'd be great to hear what your thoughts are on them, whether they've stuck in your collection or you've moved them on. Do let me know, and I'll see you next time.